Hey, how are you? I'm going to read from leadership book, Leadership Theory and Practice by Northouse. I'm on Chapter 4, Leadership Theory and Practice, Behavioral Approach, page 75, the University of Michigan Studies. While researchers at Ohio State were developing the LBDQ, researchers at the University of Michigan were also exploring leadership behaviors, giving special attention to the impact of leaders' behaviors on the performance of small groups. The program of research at Michigan identified two types of leadership behaviors: employee orientation and production orientation. Employee orientation is the behavior of leaders who approach followers with a strong human relations emphasis. They take an interest in workers as human beings, value their individuality, and give special attention to their personal needs. Employee orientation is very similar to the cluster of behaviors identified as consideration in the Ohio State studies. Production orientation consists of leadership behaviors that stress the technical and production aspects of a job. From this orientation, workers are viewed as a means for getting work accomplished. Production orientation parallels the initiating structure cluster found in the Ohio State studies. Unlike the Ohio State researchers, the Michigan researchers in their initial studies conceptualized employees in production orientations as opposite ends of a single continuum. This suggested that leaders who were oriented towards production were less oriented towards employees, and those who were employee oriented were less production oriented. As more studies were completed, however, the researchers reconceptualized the two constructs, as in the Ohio State studies, as two independent leadership orientations. When the two behaviors are treated as independent orientations, leaders are seen as being able to be oriented toward both production and employees at the same time. In the 1950s and 60s, a multitude of studies were conducted by researchers from Ohio State and University of Michigan to determine how leaders could best combine their tasks and relationship behaviors to maximize the impact of the behaviors of the satisfaction and performance of followers. In essence, the researchers were looking for a universal theory of leadership that would explain leadership effectiveness in every situation. The results that emerged from this large body of literature were contradictory and unclear. Although some of the findings pointed to the value of a leader being highly task-oriented and highly relationship-oriented in all situations, the preponderance of research in this area was inconclusive. Alright, let me see. Let's do Blake and Mouton's Managerial Leadership Grid. Perhaps this is page 76. Perhaps the best known model of managerial behavior is the Managerial Grid, which first appeared in the 1960s and has been refined and revised several times. It is a model that has been used extensively in organizational training and development. The Managerial Grid, which has been renamed the Leadership Grid, was designed to explain how leaders help organizations to reach their purposes through two factors: concern for production and concern for people. Although these factors are described as leadership orientation in the model, they closely parallel the task and relationship leadership behaviors we have been discussing throughout this chapter. Concern for production refers to how a leader is concerned with achieving organizational tasks. It involves a wide range of activities, including attention to policy decisions, new product development, process issues, workload, and sales volume, to name a few. Not limited to an organization's manufactured product or service, concern for production can refer to whatever the organization is seeking to accomplish. Blake and Mouton in 1964. Concern for people refers to how a leader attends to the people in the organization who are trying to achieve its goals. This concern includes building organizational commitment and trust, promoting the personal worth of followers, providing good working conditions, maintaining a fair salary structure, and promoting good social relations. Blake and Mouton in 1964. The Leadership Managerial Grid joins concerns for production and concerns for people in a model that has two intersecting axes. The horizontal axis represents the leader's concern for results, and the vertical axis represents the leader's concern for people. Each of these axes is drawn as a 9-point scale in which a score of 1 represents minimum concern and 9 represents maximum concern. By plotting scores from each of the axes, various leadership styles can be illustrated. The leadership grid portrays 5 major leadership styles: authority compliance, country club management, impoverished management, middle of the road management, and team management. We're going to leave it there. Let's finish it on page 76. That finished in Blake and Mootman's Managerial Leadership Grid. We'll start up on page 77. Cool. See you.